Good morning, friends. This is Rajyashree Srikanth here, selection grade lecturer from Government Polytechnic, Bagipalli. I welcome you again for this session on communication skills in English. Today, I will try to tie up all the loose ends. ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ. We have not talked about describing process. We talked about description of objects, description of events, people. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾಯ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು. ಅದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಾಂಪ್ರಹೆನ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ವೊಕ್ಯಾಬ್ಯುಲರಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಕವರ್ ಇನ್ ಟುಡೇಸ್ ಸೆಷನ್. What is a process? Now describing a process anta helidvi. But what is a process? Process andre ಏನು? It involves the steps that explain how something works. ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಹೇಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Like for example, or how to do something. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಫೋನ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Like what is the concept behind it? Or how to do something. How to do something ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಕಾಫಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ, ಟೀ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಜಿಮೇಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸಸ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್. When describing a process, you follow step-by-step instructions through the use of detailed examples and descriptions. So that is how we write a describing a process paragraph. How to describe a process? When you have to give a series of instructions to make or produce something, there are some common, useful and simple language features you can use to sound fluent and natural. So ನೀವು ಏನಾನ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ್ದಾನ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವ ತರ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಆ ತರ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. One common feature when describing a process, such as the instructions for how to make a particular dish, is the use of the imperative. The imperative form is made by using the base infinitive of the word, that is, the infinitive without to. So base infinitive andre just sing, play, atara base word. Imperative andre ಯಾವ್ದಾನ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಕೊಡುವಂತಹ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ವರ್ಬ್, ದೇ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. Linking words. We use a lot of linking words when we write a descriptive passage. When giving a series of instructions, it is more natural in speech and writing to join the different instructions together with linking words. So linking words andre one sentence go innond sentence go connect ಮಾಡುವಂತ words like and, then, atara. There are many different linking words that can be used to describe a sequence of instructions that are a part of a process. Two very simple but commonly used ones are and then. Describing a process, sometimes we also call this a procedure. Describing a process or procedure means writing about how something is made or how something happens. So adan yav thara madodu athwa adu yav thara kelsa madutte. The rainwater cycle, how coffee is grown, how glass is made. These are some of the procedures that you can write. When you explain the step-by-step order of how things happen or how things get done, you're describing a process. How to make coffee, how glass is made, how something happens. Usually process na ನಾವು passive voice ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀತೀವಿ, because it is almost like the doer, that is the person who is doing it, is writing about what he did. So this is more commonly found in your lab records or some technical writings. Procedure, giving directions or instructions. It's usually in the active voice, but it is not a rule. It is usually in the active voice ashte. But active voice nalle irbeku annodenu rule illa. Process passive nalle baribeku annodenu rule illa. The passive is often used when describing a process where the same person performs the action in every step. The meat was marinated. It was cooked for 40 minutes. It was cut into thin strips. So the chef himself, the person who is cooking, is writing it. How to make a sandwich. This is a procedure. Ingredients: 2 slices of bread, cheddar cheese, tomato sauce, mayonnaise, tomatoes, lettuce. First, place a slice of bread on the plate. So, ee tara baritivi procedure na. Second, put the tomato sauce. Third, add salad, sliced tomatoes, cheddar cheese, mayonnaise, and tomato sauce. After that, add lettuce leaves. Then, put a slice of bread on top and finally serve it. So, ee tara baritivi. If it is describing a dish, how to make a recipe, intadake navu ee tara method use martivi. Yadu procedure method. Procedure tells how to use something. Title tells what is being explained. So usually the title irutte. How to make coffee, how to make tea. Goal tells what the procedure aims to produce. Needs describes or lists what is needed to complete the procedure. Steps describes step by step how to complete the procedure. Check, how to check if the procedure worked. For example, making lemonade, lime juice. If you follow these steps, you will make a jug of lemonade. To make lemonade, you will need a liter jug, a wooden spoon, a lemon squeezer, 3 lemons, a cup of sugar, water. Carefully cut the lemons in half and squeeze them on the lemon squeezer. Pour the lemon juice into the jug. Fill the jug with water. Add the sugar. Stir until sugar is mixed completely. Taste your lemonade. If it is not sweet enough, add more sugar to the jug and stir. What is a procedure? If a process describes what, the procedure describes how. Characteristics are: there is generally one group involved. Rules are applied to an activity. There may be validation throughout. So these are some of the terms that you can use. The following are examples of procedures that may initially be mistaken for processes. How to install a piece of computer software. An instruction booklet describing how to program a DVD recorder. What is a procedure? A procedure tells us how to do or make something through a series of steps. Some examples of procedures are recipes, craft activities, instructions, rules for a game. Procedures use verbs, that is doing verbs, action verbs, to tell us what to do at the start of each step. So they start with the action verbs. This is an example. Growing sunflowers. Suryakanti. How to grow sunflowers in your school garden. Materials required: sunflower seeds, compost, topsoil and burnt soil, poured or used containers, some pebbles, a stick. Instructions: put some pebbles into the pot. Mix topsoil with burnt soil in another container. Pour them into the pot till the brim. Dig a little hole in the pot using a stick. Place the sunflower seeds in it. Layer them with the mixed soil. Add compost on top of the mixed soil. Remember to water the sunflower seeds daily. Have fun growing sunflowers. So, this is how you write a procedural text. Other example is how to make easy fried rice. 3 cups cooked rice, 2 tablespoons sesame oil, 1 small. See, please remember, we will be asking you questions like this in the exam. So don't think, hey, I don't need to learn about cooking and all that. Some basic, like how to make tea, how to make coffee, idannalla keltivi, kelu idivi. So ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ attention kodi. Don't think that this is, oh, I don't need to cook fried rice and tankobedi. You never know what you will be asked in the exam. A small white onion chopped, 1 cup frozen peas and carrots thawed, 2 to 3 tablespoons soy sauce, 2 eggs lightly beaten, 2 tablespoons chopped green onions, green onions and the spring onions. Preheat a large skillet or wok andre bondly to medium heat. Pour sesame oil in the bottom, add white onion and peas and carrots and fry until tender. Slide the onion, peas and carrots to the side and pour beaten eggs into the other side. Using a spatula, scramble the eggs. Once cooked, mix the eggs with the vegetable mix. Add the rice to the veggie and egg mixture. Pour the soy sauce on top. Stir and fry the rice and veggie mixture until heated through and combined. Add chopped green onions if desired. The procedure text. Definition of procedure. Procedure is a text that shows a process in order. So step by step bariyantadu procedures text. Its social function is to describe how something is completely done through a sequence or series. Generic structure of procedure. Goal, showing the purpose. Material, telling the needed materials. Step 1 to end, describing the steps to achieve the purpose. Language feature of procedure, using temporal conjunctions, that is time. Using action verbs. Using imperative sentence. Using simple present tense. So these are some of the things that the language part that we use. Voting steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this diagram nodi nivu you can write the procedure. Procedure is a text that shows a process in order. Its social function is to describe how something is completely done through a sequence of series. The purpose procedural text is to tell the reader how to do or make something. So that is our main purpose behind a procedure. The information is presented in a logical sequence of events, which is broken up into small sequenced steps. Andre, one step correct in the chronological order. One correct baribeku. These texts are usually written in the present tense. Usually now simple present tense use martivi. The most common example of a procedural text is a recipe. Introduction, you need the passive voice to describe the process in all the activities you make daily. Moreover, English speakers use passive continuously. Now English matadavaga, namgene without being aware of it, we use a lot of passive voice in our speech. It is important to take into account all the steps you need in order to have a product. So one product madbeku andre enen steppugal martini annadana navu gnapaka itkobeku. Passive is often used to describe how something is done, used or made. Passive voice is equal to be plus past participle. When we did the session on active and passive voice, that is voices, I told you about how to convert an active voice into passive voice. How mint tea is made. First, some tea is put in a pot. Then the water is boiled. Next, the mint and the tea are rinsed in hot water. After that, the sugar is added. Finally, the pot is filled with boiling water. So this is how you write about the process of making mint tea. So idrinal nodi is put, is boiled or rinsed. They're all in the passive voice. The descriptions of processes. Process description is very common in technical writing, that is process and instruction manuals, experiment or lab reports, proposals, progress reports, completion reports. Ee tara ನಾವು technical writing ನಲ್ಲಿ description of process ತುಂಬಾ use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Example, there are a total of 10 stages in the process, beginning with the growing of the pods on the cacao tree and culminating in the production of chocolate. To begin, the cocoa comes from the cacao tree, which is grown in South American and African continents and the country of Indonesia. Once the pods are ripe and red, they are harvested and the white cacao beans are removed. Following a period of fermentation, they are then laid out on a large tray so that they can dry under the sun. Next, they are placed into large sacks and delivered to the factory. They are then roasted at a temperature of 350 degrees, after which the beans are crushed and separated from their outer shell. In the final stage, This inner part that is left is pressed and chocolate is produced. So you notice that we have used the passive voice in this passage. There are 7 stages in the process, beginning with the digging up of clay and culminating in delivery. How to make bricks. To begin with, the clay is used to make the bricks dug up from the ground by a large digger. This clay is then placed onto a metal grid, which is used to break up the clay into smaller pieces. A roller assists in this process. Following this, sand and water are added to the clay, and this mixture is turned into bricks by either placing it into a mold or using a wire cutter. Next, these bricks are placed in an oven to dry for 24 to 48 hours. In the subsequent stage, the bricks go through a heating and cooling process. They are heated in a kiln at a moderate and then a high temperature, ranging from 200 degrees to 1300 degrees Celsius, followed by a cooling process in a chamber for 2 to 3 days. Finally, the bricks are packed and delivered to their destinations. So you notice that this is another process paragraph, and we have used passive. Is dug up, is then is placed, is used. So they are all in the passive voice. The useful language. So you make a note of this. What kind of language to use when you're asked to write a descriptive passage on process? In describing processes, we can use active or passive voice. I told you, passive voice is usually used, but it is not a rule. You can use active voice also. However, the present simple passive is used more. It is more common to use it aste. But use passive use ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ rule ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. We can say the plantation workers harvest the cacao pods, or we can say the cacao pods are harvested by the plantation workers. The first sentence in the active voice, the second sentence is in the passive voice. The present simple passive is formed as follows. Noun plus present simple of be plus past participle. Cacao beans are harvested. Sequencing words, that is linking words, are also used. Because we are writing about stages in a process, we need words to link these stages. Look at the sequencing words in these sentences. Firstly, the cacao pods are grown. Next, they are harvested. They are then dried in the sun. Before being shipped, the beans are packed in sacks. The beans are ground after being sorted and cleaned. Notice in the last 2 examples that before and after are followed by being plus past participle, because this is a phrase. Before being shipped is a phrase. After being sorted is again a phrase. How will you wash test tubes and conical flasks in the laboratory? A little quantity of washing soda is put inside the test tubes and conical flasks. Some lukewarm water is added. The inside of the test tubes and conical flasks brushed carefully using a brush. Then they are washed with running water. Finally, they are rinsed with water and kept inverted in the glass in the test tube stands and allowed to dry. What is a how-to essay? How-to essays are also called exposition writing. Exposition is writing that informs or explains. So exposition andre explain ಮಾಡೋದು ವಿವರಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತ passage ಗೆ ನಾವು exposition paragraph or exposition writing ಅಂತೀವಿ. How-to essay is a short focused piece of expository writing that explains how to do or make something. The writer breaks the process down into a series of logical steps. So, ಒಂದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಾವು chronological order ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕು, and explains them in the order in which the reader should do them. So now ಅದನ್ನು ಓದಿ ಮಾಡೋರಿಗೆ correct sequence ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. The key features of an effective how-to essays are a focused topic that can be fully explained in the length of a paragraph. So now usually one paragraph ಕೇಳುವಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆನ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ತೀವಿ. Clear explanations of any terms or materials that may be unfamiliar to the readers. A series of logical steps explained in chronological or time order. Charts, illustrations, and diagrams as necessary to make complicated procedures understandable. Different from process, don't use passive. That is, a procedure is different from a process. Procedure bariyovaga active nalle barini. Passive use madad bekilla. Requires special language. We usually use the imperative sentence. We use clauses. We use modals, modal auxiliaries. We use advice. Andre he madadre olledu anta advice madodu. And sequencing, correct logical order, time order nal irbeku. Language 1, use imperative, orders or commands. Put the car in the machine. Check that there is no glass in the tire. Open the top carefully. So these are some of our imperative sentences. Use clauses. Once you have finished, turn off the computer. Once you have finished is our clause. Use goggles when you're welding. When you're welding is another clause. Before you go to the embassy, check that your passport has empty pages. Before you go to the embassy is a clause. Language 2, use modals like can, could, should, may, etc. You should take care. You can also use a sharp knife. Itara sentences. Recommended advice. I think you should, or it's a good idea too. Language 3, use sequencing words and phrases. First, second, athwa next, after that. The next step is --ing. The next step is to use the infinitive form. X is the next step. So these are some suggestions for you to write a procedural paragraph. Describe the procedure of obtaining a demand draft from a bank. Go to the bank and pick a DD form. Fill the form carefully, which requires the name of the person to whom it has to be sent, the amount, and the name of the bank and place. Write the name of the person who makes the remittance. Hand over the application together with either a check or cash, including the DD commission. Then the clerk will issue the demand draft. So you notice that this is a procedural paragraph. It is not used in the passive voice. A recipe of your favorite dish. This is another procedural paragraph. Heat a frying pan with 1 or 2 spoons of ghee. Add a cup of rava and heat till it becomes slightly brown. Keep it aside. Chop 2 green chilies, 2 small-sized onions. Heat the pan with oil and add a few mustard seeds. Now add the chopped chilies and onions and boil with sufficient water and salt to taste. Add the rava and go on stirring it till it is cooked well. Squeeze half a lemon and stir well. Put a few curry leaves, some chopped coriander for extra flavor. Your upma is ready to serve. Describing a process or a diagram. So diagram nodi ni process baribeku, describe madbeku andre hege madodu. When you are describing a process, you need to organize the steps logically. To help signal this, you should use words such as first, then, next, after this, after that, finally. If you use conjunction when, be careful to use the simple present tense. When admele yavattu navu will phrase use modala. Will with verb use mododilla. Simple present tense use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. The machine switches off when the bag is full ಅಂತೀವಿ. The machine switches off when the bag will be full ಅನ್ನೋದು ತಪ್ಪು. Read the following advice on describing processes. Study the process diagram. So ಏನಾನ process diagram ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು first a process diagram ನ careful ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Find the beginning and end. Understand the different stages of the process. Find a way of organizing your description. Begin with an introductory sentence which summarizes the whole process. Choose a tense which is appropriate for the topic. Try to identify any distinct stages in the process. Use the notes on the diagram, but try to express them in your own words, where possible. Remember to use the sequence expressions to link the stages. So this is how you write a descriptive paragraph on process. Conclusion. Making a process is an activity that helps the student to practice the passive voice using the verbs in different tenses with the correct structure. So idinalli ನೀವು passive voice ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಬಟ್ passive voice ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೇಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಈ descriptive passage ಇಂದ ನೀವು ಕಲಿತೀರಾ. Besides, it also lets the student make a review about the verb to be. Next is how to introduce yourself. So this is part of our assignment in the syllabus. This is part of your assignment. In a formal interview, ಏನಾನು ಒಂದು ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ನೀವು ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, you name, place, qualification, family background, hobbies ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is. ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಯಾವ್ದಾನ ಅದು ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿ, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ನೂನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ನೂನ್ ಹೇಳಿ, ಎಟ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ. My name is so and so, or I am so and so ಅಂತ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. I'd like to introduce myself. I am whatever you are, a student, an engineer, a mechanical engineer, atara. Yes, I am from whichever your hometown is. My hometown is, I'm a native of. So idರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾನು ಒಂದು ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದು. Qualification, I have graduated from ಯಾವ ಕಾಲೇಜಿಂದ ನೀವು ಓದಿದ್ದೀರಾ. I have completed my dash from dash. So completed my mechanical engineering from dash atara. So ಎರಡರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾನು ಒಂದು ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದು. Family background ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ. There are dash members in my family, or I have a family of dash. Again, ಎರಡರಲ್ಲಿ one sentence. Hobbies ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. My hobbies are, whatever your hobbies are. My interests are, or I like to. So idinalli again one of these sentences. So this is how you introduce yourself. You talk about yourself. So do not forget to smile. When you're introducing yourself, make sure you smile. Greetings. Yarnana meet ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ greet ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So when two friends meet, friends often say hi to each other. Then they often ask a general question such as how are you, or how are things, or how's life. ಈ ತರ ನಾವು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಯಾರನ್ನಾನು ನಾವು ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ. The reply to this question is normally positive. ಯಾರನ್ನು how are you ಅಂದಾಗ ನಮ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಗೋಳೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. I am fine ಅಂತೀವಿ. Fine, thanks. And you again ask the person how he or she is. Fine, thanks. What about yourself? So I'm fine. Example, Yash, hi Parul, how are you? Parul, fine, thanks. And you? Yash, yeah, fine. How to introduce someone? So nim joteli yaro idare, you meet another friend, maybe your mother, somebody. How do you introduce that person to that the person you meet? Raj, have you met my colleague Janardhan? Or Raj, I'd like you to meet my colleague Janardhan. Mom, this is my friend Sagar. Sagar, this is my mother. Hello, auntie. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure meeting you. Yeradal vandu again. Pleased to meet you too, Sagar. How to approach if someone is busy? Say, excuse me. So yeah, you see this person is working. So if you want to disturb a person when they're working or when they're doing something else, you say, excuse me. If you have done something wrong, say, I'm sorry, or say, I apologize. If someone says thank you, say, you're very welcome, or you're welcome. But tell it with a smile. Gantmuti madkond matadbedi. How to answer reading comprehension. Reading comprehension methods. Now lastly, the 10-mark question. Read the following passage and answer the questions that follow in your own words. Anta keltivala asen. Our question na hege answer madbeku. Write your answers in full sentences. Points nal baribedi. Complete sentences nal baridi. It will really help you to keep on track. Check that the keywords from the question are in your answer. Look at the number of marks allocated for each question. Should your answer combine facts from more than one place in the text? Adanella nodkolli. Strategies for answering reading questions. The reading assessment test challenges you to read short passages and answer questions that require you to identify the main idea of a passage, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಟೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಆ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಮೇನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಿಮಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ ಅಂತ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಸೊ ಸುಮ್ನೆ ನಮ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಓದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ವರ್ಡ್ ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಬರ್ದಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮೆನಿ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. So make sure you read and understand the passage and read and understand the question as well. Identify the author's purpose. So our author a passage na yav karanakoskara barita idane annodana artha madkoli. Make inferences based on the facts presented in the passage. So inferences andre ನೀವು conclusion ಬನ್ನಿ. So ಇವನು ಇದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ. In addition to general strategies for taking standardized reading tests, see separate handout. The following strategies are useful for tackling each of the above question types. Answering questions. Work out if the question is literal, inference, or evaluation. Yav thara question adu. Should the answer be right there, literal? Andre passage inda literally tegedu bariyodu. Will you have to think and search for clues, inference? ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇದು ಆಗಿದೆ, ಈ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಇದು ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾ? Will you need to use your own personal experiences that the author would agree with? So ಈ ತರ ನೀವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Use evidence from the text to explain how the answer is correct. Quotes provide direct, concise evidence and prevent waffle. Waffle andre badbadike, sumne stuff ildeene maataadtaralla, adu waffle antaru. Write neatly. The person marking your answer script may have more than 500 papers to look at. So neat agi bariri, legible agi bariri, because valuation ಮಾಡೋರು 500ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರು ಒಂದೊಂದನ್ನು ಡಿಸೈಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ ಇದಿರಬಹುದಾ ಅಂತ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಟೈಮ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ make their job easy. Help them to help you. Use spelling from the paper. Identifying the main idea of a passage. The main idea of a passage is its point, the central idea or primary focus of the writing. The correct answer in a main idea question must be entirely true and complete. So complete irbeku, ardambarda bariyak hogbedi, and fact correct irbeku. Main idea questions will usually include one of the following keywords. Main idea. What is the main idea behind it? Athwa what does the author emphasize on, focus on, or what is this passage primarily about or chiefly concerned with? Author's point of view, essence of the passage. Will go on to discuss. So ee tara words gal irutte. So ee tara words iddaga you can be sure that it is a main idea question. In reading test passages, sometimes the main idea is stated in the opening sentence and developed with examples and evidence in the sentences that follow. Or a passage may conclude with a main idea, a point that the author has been building toward throughout the passage with supportive evidence. But don't be fooled into thinking you only need to read the first and last sentences of the passage. The main ideas of complex passages are not so easy to identify. So complex passages na sumne first sentence last sentence odadre ನೀವು main idea ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಪೂರ್ತಿ passage ಓದಲೇಬೇಕು. Strategies for answering main idea questions. Look for keywords that identify the question as a main idea question. If the question includes any of the main idea keywords listed above, this will help you to focus on identifying the author's point as you read. So author ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಲೇಖನಗಾರ ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನೀವು ಓದಿದಾಗ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಆ ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ನೀವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಜಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಶೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೇಜ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರೆಯಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ. Read the passage and make notes. Once you've identified the question as a main idea question, read the passage, making mental notes on your scrap paper. You can use the last page of your answer paper booklet as you read. Remember to pay special attention to words such as but, yet, although, since, except, moreover, unless, nonetheless, however. So ಈ ತರ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾಗಿ ಓದ್ಬೇಕು. These words signal a shift, a qualification, something you should know. So ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. The ideas that follow these words are usually important to the overall meaning of the passage. Reading a passage for specific details. An author often supports his or her main idea with key facts and examples that make the overall meaning of the text clear. You may be asked a question based on one of these facts or examples. Your job is to make sense of the fact or example in the context of the overall main idea that is being conveyed. Questions about specific details are a matter of reading carefully for meaning. So, often supports his main idea. Main idea first ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ specific details ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ this is what the reason that I have come to this conclusion. This is the main idea behind this passage. ಅಂತ he will try to justify it. Strategies for answering specific detailed questions. Identify the most important word or words in the question. This general strategy is critical for specific detailed questions. Identify the word or phrase that will guide you towards the answer as you read the passage. Make mental notes related to the word or phrase as you read. So mental notes ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. So ಈ ತರ this is the idea. So just make a note of it. If the question is a straightforward question about a fact or example from the text, your answer will likely appear in the same sentence in which the word or phrase appears. So ನಾವು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು straightforward question ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಅದರ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅದೇ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಆರ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚಿನ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಅದ್ರ ನಂತರ ಬರುವಂತ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. However, be sure to read the entire passage. So ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ಅಂತ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಡಿ. Be sure to read the whole passage. Understanding the main idea of the passage is often critical to choosing the correct answer for specific detailed questions. Some questions will contain a key word or phrase that is a synonym for another word or phrase in the passage. In this case, look for the word or phrase in the passage that means nearly the same as the word or phrase in the stem. So sometimes we use synonyms. Some questions, synonym andre samanartha pada. Some questions will simply ask you to identify the statement that is true or accurate. So author questions, which of the following statements is true anta onansati multiple choice alli kodtivi. So author true or false ತರ sentence nu kelbodu. In this case, take brief notes on the main idea as you read and test each answer choice. onansati multiple choice nalli idu multiple choice kottilla andre neeve ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Literal questions are so called right there questions. Literal passage ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳೋದು. Literal questions often start with who, what, where, when, why, how. See, either the answer ನಮಗೆ passage ನಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. The keywords tend to appear in the text, question and answer. The question can be reconfigured to form the answer. Who glanced at the clock impatiently? Mrs. Dikshit glanced at the clock impatiently. So ಈ ತರ ನಮಗೆ passage ನಲ್ಲೇನೆ answer ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Define a term. Understanding the author. The subject will help you strategies for answering author's purpose. the question includes any of the author ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ can you increase the AC please? I'm sweating. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಓ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಹಾ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? Shall I continue? Continue. So you can use words like these, predict. So that is, you have to predict. Try to figure out what might happen next. So ಓದುವಾಗ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವೇ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ವಿಜುವಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಲ್ಪನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Picture the people, places, and events being described. Connect what you're reading to other texts and the real world. Question. Ask questions about the material you're reading. Clarify. Investigate. Identify main points and summarize. Evaluate. Judge the story and the options of the actions of the characters. I'm sorry. So making inferences from a passage. This is our last point for this. To infer is to draw logical conclusion from what is known or assumed to be true. So namge idu nija anta gottirodonna adanna navu adakoskara idu irbeku anta navu assumption ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. In this case, from what is written in the passage, inferences are not stated explicitly in the passage. Rather, inference questions require you to draw conclusions from the factual knowledge or evidence presented. In order to answer an inference question, you must understand the logic of the author's statement and decide what is or not reasonable. Reasonable, ಇದು reasonable ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ನೀವೇ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. Inference questions are as much about critical thinking as they are about critical reading. Most inference questions will include one of the following keywords: imply, suggest, infer, assume, most likely, probably, seem, predict, indicate, conclude. So ಈ ತರ ನಮಗೆ keywords ಇರುತ್ತೆ. One type of inference question will ask you to draw a conclusion that is supported by facts presented in the passage. Another type of inference question may ask you the meaning of a word or phrase that is included in the passage. So they will ask you to draw a conclusion. So one facts nalla kotbittu idinda nimage ಏನು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ question ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. ಅಥವಾ they might ask you the meaning of a word or phrase. So passage ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ರೇಸ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. Such questions are not meant to test your vocabulary. ನಿಮ್ಮ vocabulary test ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಈ ತರ questions ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. They are designed to test your ability to understand a word. So ಈ word ನಿಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ತರ questions ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Inference, readers can understand more about the story when they look for clues in what the characters say and do. They are wearing coats, so it must be cold. So they must really like football. So itara ಏನೇನೋ inference ಗಳು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Use the clues in the text to describe what is not directly stated. Anna collected shells. Then she went for a swim in the cool, salty water. So ಇದರಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು? Anna is at the ocean. So ಅವಳು ಬೀಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ. Strategies for answering inference questions. Look for keywords that identify the question as inference question. First of all, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿರೋ question ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Author's purpose, ಅಥವಾ literal, ಅಥವಾ inference ಏನು. When you come upon a question that contains one of the words listed above, make a note that you're looking for an inference. This will help you later on as you consider the answer choices by reminding you that you must draw a logical conclusion based on the facts presented in the passage. Identify the most important substantive words in the question. In addition to the keywords, you will want to identify the word or phrase that will guide you toward the answer as you read the passage. So itara keywords na first ಹುಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಟಿವ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. Read the passage, make notes. I cannot stress this enough. So ನೀವು passage ನ ಓದಲೇಬೇಕು. Making a note related to this substantive word or phrase. So ನೀವು notes question paper ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರಿಬೇಡಿ. Use the last page of your answer booklet. Remember to pay special attention to words such as but, yet, although, since, except, moreover, unless, nonetheless, however. ಈ ತರ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನ ಇಟ್ಟು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. These words signal a shift, a qualification, something you should note. The ideas that follow these words are often the subject of inference questions. So inference question usually ಈ ತರ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರುವಂತ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. Inference questions text detective. Authors intentionally give the readers extra details by leaving them clues in the text. Inference questions require you to think and search for the clues and solve the answer. Complex inference questions require you to find and link clues from different parts of the text. You will need to reorganize the information from different places to form your answer. So ನೀವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ತೆಗೆದಿರಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಬರೀ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಬರೀ ಒನ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಫುಲ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Tips in answering: make use of keywords. After you read the questions, make sure you highlight any headings, phrases, or keywords that can help in answering the question. Find the keyword or important word of each question and get back to the passage to find the question. Most of the answers are in the sentence with that keyword or the sentences before or after it. This is the tip. Read the questions first. This will help you to look for relevant answers while reading the passage. So innondu tip andre, of course I kept saying read the passage and read the passage. But first what you can do is first read the questions. So ಮೊದಲು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ನ ಓದಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಓದಿದಾಗ ನಾವು ಆ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ನಾವು ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. If the passage is read first, you will be losing time more as you will be reading everything again to look for answers. So ನೀವು ಮೊದಲು ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಓದಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಎರಡನೇ ಸತಿ ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಮೊದಲು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ನ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅವಾಗ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Answer easier questions. This, of course, I don't need to tell you, this is not only for your reading passage, comprehension passage. This is for all the questions in your question paper. Don't spend too much time trying to answer a difficult question. It will eat up your time. Get back to the questions you are not too sure about after you have answered the easier ones. So how to improve your vocabulary is our last part. Vocabulary andre ಏನು? Refers to the words we know to communicate effectively, the words that are already there in your mind, the words that you're already comfortable with using. In general, vocabulary can be described as oral vocabulary or reading vocabulary. Oral vocabulary refers to the words we use in speaking or recognize in listening. Reading vocabulary refers to the words we recognize in prints. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸತಿ ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಫೆಮಿಲಿಯರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಯಿಗೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ ಯುವರ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್, ಆ ವರ್ಡ್ ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ನಿಧಾನವಾಗಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಆ ವರ್ಡ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೊಳೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಓರಲ್ ವೊಕ್ಯಾಬ್ಯುಲರಿ ಅಂಡ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ವೊಕ್ಯಾಬ್ಯುಲರಿ ಅಂತ ಎರಡು ತರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Increase your vocabulary by learning to use context clues so that you can teach yourself new words every time you read. Increase your vocabulary by learning to use word paths so that you can figure out word meaning by looking at their prefixes, suffixes, and roots. We've already talked about prefixes, suffixes, and roots. Read widely. ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದಷ್ಟು ಓದಿ about a wide variety of things. ಒಂದೇ ತರ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಬೇಡ, different topics ಮೇಲೆ ಓದಿ, so that you will be exposed to thousands of new words each month. Keep a vocabulary journal. ಯಾವ್ದಾನ ಒಂದು ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಹೊಸ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದನ್ನ ಬರ್ದಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. To record the interesting words you find, or make word cards so that you can see your vocabulary growing. Use the library to find other resources for building your vocabulary. Bookstores have Word for Today, calendars, crossword puzzles, and vocabulary word card boxes. So ಈ ತರ bookstores ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರೆ Word for Today ಈ ತರ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ಗಳು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. Use your words from time to time in conversation. So ಹೊಸ ವರ್ಡ್ ಕಲ್ತ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ vocabulary ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ವರ್ಡ್ ಮರ್ತ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Context clues, synonyms. Context clues are often found in the form of synonyms. ಸಮಾನಾರ್ಥ ಪದದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಹೊಸ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. Words that mean the same as the unknown word. Synonyms may be purposely included by an author to help readers understand a less familiar word. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ author ಬೇಕಂತಾನೆ synonyms ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, just so the reader will be able to learn and understand new words. In such cases, the synonyms are usually set off by special punctuation within the sentence, like comma or dash, etc. Such as commas, dashes, or parentheses and brackets. And they may be introduced by or that is, ಈ ತರಾನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಈ ತರಾನು ಆಥರ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರಬಹುದು. Synonym may also appear anywhere in a sentence as a restatement of the meaning of the unknown word. Are you ours opposed to the decision? So ours andre opposed to andre ಒಲ್ಲದ ನಮಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲದ. This naivete or innocence was obvious. Innocence andre naivete andre mugdate. The salesperson tried to assuage the angry customer's feeling, but there was no way to soothe her. So assuage, soothe is a synonym. Antonyms to use ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Words and phrases that mean the opposite of the word are also useful as context clues. Antonyms are often signaled by words and phrases such as however, but, yet, on the other hand, in contrast, ಈ ತರ terms use ಮಾಡಿರಬಹುದು. My sister Anne is lively and outgoing. However, I am rather introverted. So, introverted is the opposite of lively and outgoing. Antharmukhi. Religions in America are not static. Static andre sthira, but changing, especially so static ge opposite is changing, especially in this period of shifting values. Many people have pointed out the harmful effects that a working mother may have on the family. Yet there are many salutary effects as well. So harmful ge opposite is salutary. Salutary andre upayukta. Context clues examples. Examples can serve as context clues for a word. Examples are often introduced with such signal words as including, such as, atara examples ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. So ಈ examples ನೋಡಿ ನಾವು word meaning ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. Nocturnal, nishachara. Creatures such as bats and owls have highly developed senses that enable them to function in the dark. The adverse effects of this drug, including dizziness, nausea, and headaches, have caused it to be withdrawn from the market. So dizziness, nausea, headaches, ivalla negative nammali ಹಾನಿಕರವಾದದ್ದು. So adverse ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಹಾನಿಕರ ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ವ್ಯತಿರಿಕ್ತ. Common euphemisms ಸುತ್ತು ಬಳಸಿದ ಪ್ರಯೋಗ include final resting place for grave. So ನಾವು unpleasant term ನ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ ಬದಲು ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ more acceptable term ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ euphemism ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Grave ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂಥರ ಸ್ಮಶಾನ. ಸೊ ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಒಂಥರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಮ್ಗೆ uncomfortable ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So final resting place ಅಂತೀವಿ. Intoxicated for drunk. Comfort station for toilet. In some cases, based on the information given, the meaning of the word can be drawn. Asking yourself questions about the sentence or passage may help you make a fairly accurate guess about the meaning of the unfamiliar word. A former employee, irate over having been fired, broke into the plant and deliberately wrecked several machines. So ಅವನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆ ವರ್ಡ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Irate andre kopa. So kopadinda he behaved like that. Despite the proximity of Ron's house to his sisters, he rarely sees her. So ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅವಳನ್ನ ಮೀಟೇ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಅಕ್ಕನ್ನ. though ಅವ್ರು ತುಂಬಾ ಸಮೀಪ ಇದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ತಾನಾಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. The car wash we organized to raise funds was a fiasco, for it rained all day. Fiasco andre ಅದು ಫಲ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಸ್ಯಾಸ್ಪದವಾಯ್ತು. He was born to a family that possessed great wealth, but he died in indigence. ಬಡತನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸತ್ತ. So but andre okay, you know that it is an antonym. My friend Julie is a great procrastinator. She habitually postpones doing things from household chores to homework. So procrastinator andre person who keeps postponing anta meaning namge artha agutte. Since my grandfather retired, he has developed such avocations as gardening and long distance bike riding. Avocations anta takshana namge ವೃತ್ತಿ ಕಸಬು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Lizard was so lethargic that I wasn't sure if it was alive or dead. It didn't even blink. So adonthara move ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದು lethargic, alasa. The public knows very little about the covert activities of CBI spies. Covert and ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇವಾಗ CBI spies ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗೂ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಇದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅವರು ಗುಪ್ತವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Many politicians do not give succinct answers to questions, but long, vague ones. To the point, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ರು to the point ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಕೊಡೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಂಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತವಾಗಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರು ಯೂಶಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುತ್ತಿ ಬಳಸಿ ಏನೇನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Because my father had advised me to scrutinize the lease, I took time to carefully examine all the fine print. So take time to carefully examine means scrutinize. So parishilisu. In biology class today, the teacher discussed such anomalies as 2 heads and webbed toes on a human being. So idu usually kandu baruvanthadalla. So idu antara akrama. Nature has endowed hummingbirds with the ability to fly backwards. Endowed andre given, needodu. Doctors should alleviate the pain of terminal patients so that their final days are as comfortable as possible. Alleviate andre kadime madodu. Word parts can be made of combinations of different parts called roots or bases, prefixes and suffixes. So yalla word galu root irutte, prefix irutte, suffix irutte. But of course prefix suffix irlebeku annodenu rule illa, of course. Words, prefixes and suffixes have their own separate meaning and can be looked up individually in a dictionary. So bari now prefix na matra dictionary alli hudukadre adukku sigatte nam meaning. These meanings suggest the overall meanings of the words they compose. A prefix is a letter of or group of letters that come at the beginning of a word. A prefix alters the meaning of a word. Sometimes word prefixes have hyphens irutte. Example, a half-hour program, and sometimes they don't. Example, an impossible question. Use a dictionary when you're not sure if there is a hyphen or not. Kelavu words ge prefix ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು hyphen ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ, ಕೆಲವು ಸತಿ prefix ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ hyphen ಹಾಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಲ್ prefix hyphen ಹಾಕಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ ಹಾಕಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಡಿಕ್ಷನರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Suffix is a word part added to the end of the word. It does not generally alter a word's meaning, but it will often change a word from one part of speech to another. For example, when the suffix "ess" is placed after the adjective kind, the result is the noun kindness. A root is a basic word which prefixes and suffixes can be added. So basic word, ee root word ge navu prefix athwa suffix add ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. It cannot be further separate. So ee root word na matte split madak sadhya illa and is fairly constant in form and meaning. It can be found at the beginning, middle or end of a word. Be aware that there are times when a group of letters appears to be a prefix, suffix or root, but it is not. Sometimes when group of letters na prefix tara nam kaanbohudu, but esto sati adu prefix iralla. For instance, the prefix anti means against. So anti-clockwise atara, it means against, but of opposite or anti-social atara. However, anti is not a prefix. In anticipate, antique, itara words nalli anti another prefix alla. If you read 14.2 minutes a day, you will read millions of words per hour. Andre 11 lakhs 46,000 words. 21.1 minutes ಓದಿದ್ರೆ 18 lakhs 23,000 words ನೀವು 1 year ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. 65 minutes per day ಓದಿದ್ರೆ 43 lakhs 58,000 words you can learn. Read even as little as 15 to 20 minutes per day over a long period of time, at least for a year. It is important to read a significant quantity of material. So, adanne pade ododalla. Different things, different passages ಓದಬೇಕು. About 20 pages each day. 100 pages each week tara odi. Read a variety of material. Read consistently every day. You can stop reading a book before finishing it and choose another one. One book ಓದ್ತಿರುವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ stop ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. Read books that are challenging to improve your vocabulary. Keep an informal daily journal of your reading. Read a book. By reading a story, create a picture in your imagination that will connect to different parts of your brain to English. Find a book that is not too difficult. Do not stop every time you find a new word. ಹೊಸ ವರ್ಡ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡಿಕ್ಷನರಿ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ, because after a while you will stop reading altogether. Guess what the word probably means. Continue reading. Check in your dictionary at the end of the page or chapter. Bekare underline ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. How to make word study card. Write the word in bold letters on one side of an index card. Vacillate. Vacillate andre ಅನಿಶ್ಚಿತವಾಗಿರು. On the other side of the index card, write vacillate, meaning waver. It is a verb. Write the part of speech. Chitra's parents usually came to a decision quickly and stuck by them. This time they vacillated before deciding. The sentence, the word appearance. So you use the word in a sentence. Synonym, waver. Antonym, persist. Decide quickly. And if you have any other piece of information to add, you're welcome to add that as well. Use your new words. Use the new words that you have learned from time to time in conversations and in your writings. This is very important. You have to keep using the word. Talk, listen, share. Wow, my vocabulary is growing. Speak lots of English with your friends. You improve your spoken English by speaking English in different situations with people of all nationalities. If you want to speak English better in the future, speak it as much as possible now. ಮುಂದೆ ನಾವು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗಿಂದಾನೇ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Think positively. People who say I can't speak English well are correct. ನಂಗೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋರು correct. People who say every day in every way my English is getting better and better ಅನ್ನೋರು correct. It all depends on how you think. So your thought makes the person you are. What you think is what you get. Practice saying the second sentence every day, and you will see a greater improvement in your English and in your confidence. Remember, the more fun you have with English, the easier it will be to learn. So enjoy learning English. Just keep going. Don't give up. Never give up. ಪದೇ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಿ, ಸೋಲೊಪ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. Good luck in your exams. Just do your best. Hope it all goes well. Goodbye, friends, and best wishes. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful day.